which is sad to say, divorce is so high now. Because when something happens, and I'm not talking about the abuse situation, I'm just talking about in general, when something happens, women are like, I don't need to take this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need to work on this. And obviously there are the extremes that if there's an extreme, you need to walk away.
Yeah.
But it might just be something little that a conversation, an easy conversation, a prayer, let's pray together, let's fast together, could solve. But because our faith has been weaponized for bad so much that your first instinct is not to turn to God, is to say, I'm out. I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
For something that could have been so little and sorted out straight away.
Yeah.
But you see that's such a big slight that because faith has been weaponized, you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to get a divorce.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we make sure that we always talk about communication, but I think we have that communication also is with God. Like, we have to be prayer. If your marriage is going to work, you need to be praying.
Yeah.
Not just like in the morning or before. You need to be praying intentionally for your marriage. You need to be praying together for your marriage, as well as that prayer that you do in your head. Fair enough, but you need to pray together. Hey everyone, welcome back to the 3L podcast with myself, Eman, and my beautiful wife, Mariam.
Where we talk life, love, and legacy.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you finding everything?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you enjoying?
I'm enjoying.
Good. So, today's episode, I just want to get into it because I feel like it's powerful. It's powerful. So go on, tell people
today's episode is, does faith make your marriage stronger or just complicated?
Does faith make your marriage stronger or just complicated? All right. So when we say faith, what are we talking about? Just for those that hold that.
I think we're talking about your religion, your Christianity, Islam. It could be whoever's listening in, your faith, the religious doctrine that you follow, that you know, God that you worship and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what we mean.
Yeah. And so does it make it, well, I guess what we're saying is that within your faith, so as a Christian, there are certain expectations that have been passed down from years in regards to what a good Christian marriage should look like.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the question is sticking to that a winning formula in 2026 or in the modern day age, or is it something that actually is old school and we should be moving away from and evolving from? And does it cause more problems trying to live a Christian biblical marriage in a very circular world?
See, when I thought that, I said, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a crazy topic, because we hear about being long suffering. The Bible says be long suffering in marriage and stuff, but now we live in a world where there are options, right? And you could just easily say, I don't want to be long suffering, I'm out. You know what I mean? You don't want to put in the work to fix it. It's easy for me to walk away. And I think I see it all the time. Where, oh, he was a good man, he's this and this, but he just doesn't help me anymore, so I just don't want to do this anymore. Or I don't know, I feel like faith is good, but at the same time it could be turned in a way that is negative. And I think we need to figure out where's the negativity coming from. If it is good for it to be good, or I don't know, I'm stuck. My brain is all over the place with this conversation. But I think faith can be good and bad depending on where it is applied. I think that's the best thing to say.
I think for me, faith is good. I'll just be honest. I think that there's different elements. So there's also the element of where one may be more in the faith than others. So let's say we are married and all of a sudden, like, I decide I don't want to go to church anymore and you still want to go to church. That can cause friction. That can cause issues and problems. Do you know what I mean? Within your marriage. But I'd say in general, having faith has helped our marriage. Yeah. Because I think when the two of us are not on the same page, rather than just be like, well, forget you, we have faith to lean back on. We have a God like, we'll lean on prayer. We'll speak to leaders in the church. We will, there might be a bit more tolerance, a bit more patience. there might be a case of where the world might say, oh, I'm out. As because we have faith, we're willing to be a bit more forgiving. We're willing to understand that there are challenges, and people go through stuff. And so I think for me, having faith means that I don't think we would last. We're 15 years this year. I don't think we get to 15 years without God in our marriage.
100%.
Without us being Christian, because there's plenty of times where, if not for being Christian, we would have walked away. We would have not lasted. So for me, having my faith in God and the institution of marriage, like what marriage means, standing up in front of my peers and saying that I want to marry this person till death do us part, for better, for worse, to really take those vows as a Christian seriously, means that when it got to worse, that wasn't a time to walk away. That was a time to pray. That was a time to fast. That was time to seek counsel. That was a time to look even closer to God for answers. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Whereas if we didn't have that, when worse happened, we're like, well, I deserve better.
Yeah.
You start thinking about me and what I deserve. Whereas I'm thinking about, what did God give me? What's God's expectations of me as a man? What's God's expectations of me as a husband? What do I feel God would want me to do in this situation?
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's a different mindset, and I think that's why we have been able to last, because of our faith.
I just want to clarify, when I say faith is bad, I think it's when people take Christianity and turn it in a way that's not great for the person. For instance, we see stories about women going to their mum or their auntie and saying, oh, my husband is abusing me. And they're telling you, pray about it, but you're being physically abused. There is where faith, it has been taken and twisted for something bad.
Yeah.
Because you see someone's hurting. Forget even mentally hurting, physically hurting. And you tell them, just pray, just allow it. Just pray that they're going to be better. But they're not getting better. They're getting worse.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Faith is good. Faith is a good thing. Leaning on God, praying to God to help you out of a situation is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
But when you take that and apply it to a bad situation, that's when I think faith, or how they take Christianity, can be bad.
I 100% agree. I feel like I've seen the nonsense too much. I've seen it. Like, how can you, as a pastor, a woman's coming to you to tell you that her husband is beating her, and you say, well, I'll speak to him and I'll pray about it. Go back to the house.
Yeah.
How can you send a victim back to a place where they are being abused and say, oh, I'll have a conversation? Like, pastors, sometimes I think they feel like they're puppets or something. Like they've got people on string. Somebody's been abused. You should say, yes, we need to pray. Yes, we need intervention, but we also need to make sure that you can't go back there. You have to. I can't send you back to somewhere where you can't tell me it's unsafe and I send you back there. And we see this not just with I know we're talking about the context of marriage. We see this with children. We see this all the time, where church is these leaders are meant to be keeping the congregation safe. That's why you're in this position. Yet your focus is, I don't know what your focus is on. Like, I don't know what your mindset is on, that somebody would tell you that they're being abused by their husband and you would say, oh, go back. Somebody's saying, oh, my husband is sleeping around, and you would say, oh, we'll pray. Go back.
Like, yeah, I think that is where I think, it can be used in a negative way. Because yes, we need to pray to God. We need to believe in our God, that He is the answer and He can guide us in our path, but not at the detriment of someone's life. Not at that detriment. No. So yes, faith is good in your marriage because it has got us through some dark paths. And He's right. We would not be here without God being the third person in this marriage. But if you're in a situation where you're fearing for your life and someone is telling you, pray to God, please.
Yeah, because also remember, God was the one that gave us, counselors and therapists and, prevention, these prevention. God gave people these talents and abilities to be able to intercede, to be able to protect people when these things happen. And that's why sometimes, like, I'll be honest, like, when it comes to when people are like, oh, I had financial problems and I was speaking to my pastor, I'm like, that's where you went wrong.
I shouldn't laugh, sorry.
No, no, like, your pastor has not studied anything financial. So they're not giving it to you. They can't give you that advice. They can tell you from their own experience what they do, but they're not qualified to give that advice. And I think far too often pastors are trying to be everything.
Yes,
They're
100%.
trying to be everything, and you haven't trained for that. Do you know what I mean? You haven't trained. You haven't studied it. You haven't trained. You haven't gone to do the work in that area, but yet you want to give advice because you're a pastor.
Yeah.
You understand? And so for me, it's really, really important that when it comes to getting advice, you get it from the right people. And your pastor isn't necessarily the answer for every single problem that you have.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Your pastor may be able to pray and give you guidance and give you support, but there are actual charities, there are programs, there are things put in place to deal with these things. And sometimes one of the biggest problems is, pastors acting like police. You're not police. Somebody is abusing somebody. Yes, pray, but you should also call the police. But you won't. You won't call the police and tell them to report what's going on. Instead of you being next to that woman and holding her hand and saying, listen, we've got to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. We've got to make sure that your children are safe. We've also got to make sure that we can't just walk away, that something happens, that this person gets the help that they need. Because if not, they'll go into another relationship or another and do the same thing again. Do you know how often people are being abused by people that have already abused other people because other people kept silent? And those people kept silent because their leaders or those that were around them told them to keep silent to save face.
Yeah.
I don't want the world to know that you were abused. They'll think I'm a bad pastor. They'll think I'm a bad mother. They'll think I'm a bad father. They'll think you're thinking about yourself. It's like,
It's selfish.
It's not about you. It's about the victim. What's best for the victim? And how do we stop more victims from existing?
Yeah.
So again, this is why there's authorities. This is why we need to report. This is why we need to make sure that we're following due course. But all of a sudden, because you're a pastor and you're the anointed man of God, now police don't exist. You're not even letting them, ambulance don't exist. You're not even calling ambulance. Somebody's been battered, beaten up. They don't even call ambulance.
It's absolutely crazy to me how in certain church establishments that they use faith to keep people compliant.
Come on, man are using faith to suck women's breasts.
Oh, God.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it. Men are using faith to bath women.
Oh my God.
Wash their sins away naked in the church.
I can't.
Pastors are using faith to sleep with
with wives.
Wives. Oh, you want your wife to get pregnant? Oh, your wife has to sleep with pastor first. Then pregnancy will come. So also, we have to wake up. Some of us,
we're just under the sauce. You're under the sauce too much.
You're just a fool. You're just a fool. You're just a fool. Why would I be praying to God so I can have a child? And God will say, yeah, your answer is
to go and sleep with pastor. And then now you get pregnant by pastor. And then now your husband don't want to be with you no more because that's not his you.
All in the name of faith.
All in the name of faith.
Why would God say that, for me to be able to bless you, I need to suck your breasts? Hello? Sometimes we've gone too far. And that's why sometimes it's hard to take the faith serious. Because there are so many people that will abuse the power for their own good. We can't be blind sheep. This is why God gave the word, said, here's the word. Didn't say here's a pastor to teach you the word. Say here's the word for yourself. You can go out and read the word yourself. And there are versions that are easier to make it easy to, you can go out and read it for yourself.
But I think people have become lazy. People don't want to put the work in, so they want someone else to tell them to put the work in. And that's where you get lost.
Yeah.
Because you don't know the word for yourself. You don't read the Bible for yourself. You don't take the time to understand the Bible. So when someone says, oh, bring your wife, let me touch her bum, let me touch her breast, let me touch, you follow because someone has told you. I'm the one you don't know the word for yourself.
When your pastor say, bring your wife, let me rub anointing oil all over her. And women are coming with the husband standing there naked, and pastor is putting oil, touching your wife in places that you haven't even touched your wife in front of you. And you say, thank you, pastor. Thank you so much. Such a mighty man of God.
It's crazy.
And so again, this is when we talk, but again, for me, that's extremes. But I know I know that there are women who are telling their pastor that they are being abused, and pastor saying, oh, we're praying about it. Don't worry, he will change in the future. Just accept it for now. You are telling that woman to go and get beat, that the beating will stop in the future.
And that's why we see, which is sad to say, divorce is so high now. Because when something happens, and I'm not talking about the abuse situation, I'm just talking about in general, when something happens, women are like, I don't need to take this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need to work on this. And obviously they're the extremes that if there's an extreme, you need to walk away.
Yeah.
But it might just be something little, that a conversation, an easy conversation, a prayer, let's pray together, let's fast together, could solve. But because our faith has been weaponized for bad so much that your first instinct is not to turn to God, is to say, I'm out. I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
For something that could have been so little and sorted out straight away.
Yeah.
But you see that such a big slight that because faith has been weaponized, you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to get a divorce.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we make sure that we are really, we always talk about communication, but I think we have that communication also is with God. Like, we have to be prayer. We have to, if your marriage is going to work, you need to be praying.
Yeah.
Not just like in the morning or before. You need to be praying intentionally for your marriage. You need to be praying together for your marriage, as well as that prayer that you do in your head. Fair enough. But you need to pray together. You need to really seek counsel. You need to read the word together. You need to go to church together. You need to be in Bible study together. You really need to, because faith is such a powerful thing inside a marriage. It's so powerful in regards to keeping us together, in regards to us. There are, when I think about, like I said in other episodes, like men, it's very simple, like respect, appreciation, and sex. Have that and we're good. All of those principles are in the Bible.
Yeah.
And one thing I would say is that in regards to Miriam and the way that you treat me, the way you talk to me, like, I don't just think that comes from Nigerian culture. I think that also comes from your belief and faith in God. Do you know what I mean? That, you know, that I feel that you feel like, okay, God has called you to be my leader. God has called you to, you know, for me to be beside you and us to work together and support. And I feel like because you have that faith in God, it means that it's easy for us to have certain conversations. It's easier for us to move in a certain way. And also because of that, I feel my responsibility, you know, like Jesus died for the church. Do you know what I mean? Sacrificed his life. And the same way, I feel that I need to sacrifice myself for my family. Do you know what I mean? As a man. And so there are things that when it comes to, oh, I just want to be in the pub after work. Am I sacrificing for my family by doing that?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong to be in the pub after work. I'm just saying if you're in the pub every day after work, or you're out for drinks with friends every day after work, and your family is at home waiting for you to come home, and by the time you come home, the kids have already gone to sleep. They haven't seen you in days, because the time you wake up in the morning, you get ready, you're gone. In the evening, you're out with other people. To me, that's not sacrificing for your family. That's not putting your family first. Like, and so for me, when I look at the role model that Jesus was within the Bible, and I look at how the part I'm supposed to play as the head of my household, I know the responsibility that I have. I know that that means that it's more important for you to have stuff than me to have stuff. It's more important for my kids to have stuff than me to have stuff. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like there is a responsibility that having faith means that I have. I have an additional responsibility that I push for my family, that I don't look to myself. Do you know what I mean? There's a certain selfishness that is taken away because of my faith. And so for me, I feel like having faith within a marriage is a benefit.
Yeah.
And it's something that is positive. But Christianity in whole can definitely have its own negatives on a marriage.
Yeah, and you might be watching and think, oh, Mims, how did you come to this realization about Emmanuel? Pray. I prayed a lot. There are times when I'm like, God, like, show me what I need to do, what I need to be. And please, I'm not saying be a doormat in your house. Do you know what I mean? Like, we are very much, we talk to each other, we converse, we dialogue, we make decisions together as a couple. But in that respect, the submission, quote unquote, there were conversations I had with God that I was like, bro, if like this, you need to show me what I need to do to be the wife I need to be for him. Because in the wife I'm being for him, that is how he's the husband he needs to be for me. This is a give and take thing. It's not one size fits all. This is definitely give and take within our marriage. Do you know what I mean? You need to make those prayers, those hard prayers that sometimes you don't want to, but you need to make them. What do I need to change in myself?
Yeah.
That will make the change I want to see in him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's transactional. Not transactional. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's definitely like, God, what do I need to do? Because I want him to be this way, but maybe I'm not behaving in the way.
It's give and take.
It's give and take. Exactly. That's what I need. That's it. What do I need to do? And I think those are conversations that you as a Christian need to have with God, and God will answer you.
But do you feel like the godly Christian spouse, especially woman, the godly woman has been used to keep women quiet, keep women submissive, and keep women down within the Christian faith?
To a certain extent, yes. Definitely. Like you said, a woman is getting abused. Oh, let's protect the man. Do you know what I mean? Let's do this, let's do that. I think 100% yes. Oh, the woman is the homemaker. She should be at home, raising the kids, nurturing the kids. Again, and that's when it is used in a negative connotation. Does that make sense? Because there's nothing wrong with that. Some people want to be stay-at-home mums. Some people want to be homemakers. Do you know what I mean? But when it is taken and used in a negative way, yes, Christianity, quote unquote, has been used to put women down. And it's come from obviously back in the day. It's just how it was then. But we're now in a situation where we can have conversations with our spouse. And sometimes my spouse might be like, I don't even want that as a wife.
Yeah.
I saw how my mom was and I don't want my wife to be like that. Do you know what I mean? And a woman might say, oh, my mom was like this. I don't want to be like how my mom was. Do you know what I mean? And we thank God that conversation can happen now and dialogue can happen now. So you can set the terms of your marriage before you get into your marriage. And like men say, this is what you want, find a woman that can give you what you want. Does that make sense? There are loads of women out there that want to be stay-at-home mums. Do you know what I mean? Not marry a boss chick and you tell her, oh, I want you to be at home. And she's like, no, that's not who I was. Do you know what I mean? And don't use your faith to try and stop her from doing what she's already told you she wants to achieve.
Yeah. I think what we don't talk about a lot within this Christian marriage space is the fact that women from the older generation, I think a lot of them are upset at women from the younger generation because the women from the younger generation are doing things that they weren't able to or allowed to do, or if they were to do it, Christianity or faith would have said they're being bad wives or bad women or they're not women of God. That today's Christian woman in a marriage can do.
Yes.
And I think that there's definitely friction and conflict, even when you might see someone's mum or like say certain things, and really what she's saying is that when I was married, I couldn't do that. When I was married, I wasn't allowed to go to work. Or when I was married, I had to go to work and come back and do all the cooking and cleaning. Like, why is my son cooking and cleaning for you? Like, when I had to do that cooking and cleaning for my husband. Like, and so when we see conflicts, a lot of the time it's from the older generation having an issue seeing the younger generation getting away with things that they felt they couldn't get away with, and they're trying to bring back their style
Their
and what
style,
and what they
yeah.
were used to, and I think the younger generation are saying no, no, no. Sorry, mum. I know you accepted that, but I ain't accepting
Right,
that.
exactly. Oh gosh, babes, you raised such an amazing point. I don't think people look at that side of things a lot. I don't think people see that there is anger in that whole how I treat you now that you're married is because I wasn't able to do this. I don't think people look at that. I don't think people consider it. They just think, oh, she's been difficult. But people don't look at the
You
root
say
of
she
what
mean mother-in-law
mother-in-law, it
or
could be your own mum, even
your own
not
mum,
even
yeah,
your
mother-in-law,
mother-in-law,
your own
your
mum,
own
yeah,
mum. It could even be your older sister who
yeah,
got married because there's such a big age difference and
yeah,
stuff. Do you know what I mean? Where she had to have 4 kids and you're only having 1 kid and being able to travel and stuff like that.
yeah,
There's so many different sides to this from the outside looking in marriage that, you know, people don't look at where is that coming from. It could be on the man side as well. It could be the husband going, oh, how are you a house husband? I wanted to be a house husband, but back in my day, men have to go to work and do all of these things. You know what I mean? It
mm,
could be working from home 2 days a week, or I don't want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a engineer. I want to be a chef or a baker. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different facets into what older people or older generation went through that we as a younger generation don't have, that could bring resentment, and that resentment plays out in how they treat your spouse, both
yeah,
male or female.
yeah. I think what we see is that time has changed so quickly between the generations. So it's like it's might only be like 20 or 30 years
Yeah.
gap, but so much has changed in the last 20 to 30 years that it's almost like it's a different world. Like we're seeing men staying at home and women going to work, and the older generation looking like, are you even a man?
Yeah.
What kind of man does school run and stays at home and does all the cooking and cleaning? Are you even a man? And you're like, no, but this works for our household.
That was
So
for our house.
and we're happy. So we're cool with that. And you know, you're seeing all of these kind of where there was where the what a man's role, what a woman's role was so fixed when they're growing up, is so fluid now
Fluid.
that it feels wrong to that older generation. And so they're trying to fight back. They're trying to say, like, what are you doing? Stop that. This is not how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. And we're like, no, we make our own rules in our own house and for ourselves. And I think that brings its own resentment, brings its own issues, brings its own conflict within marriage, because that generation are still trying to have their say and have their way, and you're like, no, 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 we don't subscribe to
We don't
that
subscribe to that at
anymore.
all.
So yeah, what's the
Ooh.
dilemma?
Okay, sorry. The dilemma says, sorry, my phone keeps locking off. It says, my husband and I built our entire marriage around our faith. It's how we met, how we decided to get married, how we've raised our children. It's woven into everything. About 2 years ago, quietly and without drama, I stopped believing. Not in him, not in us, but in the framework our whole marriage is built around. I still go to church. I still participate. I haven't told him because I don't know how to. Our faith isn't just what we believe. It is who we are to each other, to our community, to our family. Telling him feels like pulling out the foundation and hoping the house stays standing. Do I owe him the truth? Or a marriage built on shared faith, is a marriage built on shared faith still intact when only one person holds it?
Yeah, I feel like number one, definitely speak up, because I feel like one thing about this Christian journey, it's a journey. There are ups and downs, and so it might be that actually we want to look at what's the root cause. How have you gone from being someone that has been really engaged in church, really engaged in God and so forth, and God been such a key part of your life, to now you're at a place where you're just going through the motions? What's happened? What's changed? Like, actually, how can we work on it together? Is it something that we need to do? Do we need to, again, like I said, do we need to go to Bible study together? Or actually, do you need to find a new cell group, like a women's group that you can talk to? Is it a case of, because of the work that you're doing, do you need to find other women that do similar work to you, that are Christians, and have that community, and then you can have those conversations? How do we create an environment where you can reignite that fire, where you can, get back on track with God? Like, just because you've fallen off track with God doesn't mean that you've fallen out of love with me or out of love with our marriage. And it's for us to kind of bring that connection back and work together for me, rather than it be a case of you feeling like, oh, I can't tell you because if I tell you, I'm just gonna divorce you, or and we're just gonna separate. No, as a husband, my job is to say, well, if you've lost sight of why you're coming to church or your faith, maybe we need to go to a different environment. Maybe this church isn't serving your needs anymore, and we need a new church to serve your needs. Or maybe it's a case of we need a new group to put you around new people, and maybe it's a case we just need to do more at home. Like, all of these are a conversation as opposed to be finite.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think what has happened to make you be this way? What happened? Something. Nobody just wakes up and says, I'm not believing in God anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not a Christian anymore.
Yeah.
Something happened. There was a catalyst.
Yeah.
So what was the catalyst? And you need to look at what it was. And you need to speak to your husband, because let me tell you something. You might think he doesn't know that something is happening. He knows. God might even be telling him, yo, your missus is going through something. You need to go and check in on that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you might think he doesn't know something is happening, but he knows. He might see that you're going through the motions and just praying and hoping that you will come and speak to him, or something will happen to get you back into the spirit of things. So you need to speak to your partner. You need to speak to your husband and say, I've been feeling this type of way for a while. And maybe it might be something so little that's caused this discord, but it might be something that's easily rectified.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So definitely speak to your husband, explain why you feel the way that you feel, and hopefully, good or bad, you find a way to come to a resolution that works for both of you.
Yeah, I think it's that's vital. I think that's vital. Don't feel like, oh, and I don't think your husband will say, oh, because you've fallen out of faith, now I want to divorce you. Your husband loves you. Like, I think sometimes we forget that as married people, we forget that, like, even if you make a mistake, even if you do wrong, your partner loves you. They want to be with you. They're choosing you every single day. They want to be with you. And so they don't want to let you go. They just want to find a way to help you get back to the best version of you. They want to help you. They want to help and support you on things that are important to you. And so bring them in, let them know. Don't feel to hide or feel shame, because like you said, they might already have feel like something's not right, but they're just waiting for you to bring it up and have that conversation. So yeah, I think sometimes we play out, because we've been around someone so long. I feel like I know you, Mims. I know what you're gonna say. So we have a whole conversation and come to a conclusion without actually including you.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'll say this, she'll say that, I'll say that, then I'll reply this, then this is gonna happen. Okay, I'll just go to the end. I don't need to have that. No, have that conversation. Because you don't know what God has placed in your partner's spirit, that they may say something different to what they would normally say, because actually God wants to use them to speak to you or to help you through this moment.
Yeah.
And you haven't given them, you haven't allowed the opportunity for God to use them in the way God wants to.
Absolutely. And I think even within our marriage, there's moments where I've said stuff to Eman, he was like, oh, I was thinking about that 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Or you said a word and it really touched me because I was feeling some type of way. And I'm just having a normal conversation with him, and vice versa. There are times when we've just uplifted each other, not knowing that we were uplifting each other, because God might have dropped a word. And there's been, in our 15 years, our faith has definitely been tested so many times. There are times when he's been the one that's been strong and I've been the one weak, and vice versa. And in those moments, we just pray for each other and say, you know what, let's find a way to come back to God. Do you know what I mean? And faith, I will never say that faith has not been a big part of our marriage. It has. It has been the foundation that we have stood up on times when the tornado was blowing.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? But if you're in a situation where you feel like your faith is wavering, you feel like you can't turn to God, trust me, like I was telling a friend of mine, because she was like, oh, she doesn't have time to pray. I said, fam, do you know I pray when I'm driving to go to the school run? I pray when I'm in the shower. I pray at the most random times that you don't need to just kneel down and say, this is my time to pray.
That's the problem. People want to lay on the floor. They want to, and they want to have a certain time. They want to have gospel music playing in the background. Like, you can pray. If you had time to make that phone call, you had time to pray.
Fam.
Do you understand? The thing is, we have time for the things that we think are important, and the problem is you just don't think it's important enough. I always say, like, when I went to South Africa and I stayed with my old boss Hakeem, for that week that I was with him, 10 days we were together, he prayed 5 times a day, every single day. Like, we be out in the mall, he'd be like, oh, it's time, I want to come back. Again, South Africa is equipped. Every place you went to, there's a prayer room somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And he'll go and pray. And it's like, actually, there's time. If it's part of the things that you have to do, there's time. You'll make time for it. All right. And I feel like it's so important that we make time to pray. We make time to draw closer to God. We make time to read our word. We make time to fellowship together. We make time to put ourselves in environments with other Christians and understand how blessed we are to call ourselves Christians and to be part of a network. Like, if it's business, you'd say, rah, I'd love to be able to be in business and have a network of 500 people that I can relate to on something and be able to tap into their expertise. If you go to a church of 500 people, you got 500 other Christians, 500 other people, 200, 100 other people that believe the same thing that you believe. That's powerful. So why do we like to walk this race alone? We're happy to come together on a Sunday for 2 hours and clap and sing and dance and listen to the word. And why do we not communicate throughout the week and understand that we are an army? We have people around us and we can fellowship and we can learn and we can share. And that's what's going to make our faith better. And that's what's going to make sure that we can have successful marriages. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I did.
I did as well.
Yeah. I thought it was very powerful. Please continue to like, share, comment, subscribe, please. Help us grow and build. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.